Well, welcome back, everybody. This is the paper that you should have in front of you, and you should have your name, your date, and your class on it already. You're also going to need your 3-1 packet. You should use that during the classwork. I recommend that you either put it next to this page or underneath this page or underneath your Chromebook so that it's easy to get to. Lastly, you do need a calculator. During the last class, I told everyone that you needed a calculator. If you have not gotten one, get one today. For today's class only, you can use an online calculator. However, we won't be able to do that in future lessons or during the test because it's a distraction during class to have your Chromebook open, and we're going to try to minimize distractions as much as possible. You also might want extra notebook paper or a whiteboard. Those aren't requirements, but some people might like to work there instead of trying to fit everything in the space here. A reminder about videos: you can pause them, rewind them, and rewatch them. You can fast forward videos. I know that sounds obvious, but I've had a student in the past tell me that the videos were going too fast, and that's why they couldn't complete their homework. And I just want to remind you that you can pause the video, rewind, rewatch, fast forward videos. You can also do the opposite. If you need to skip forward to a certain problem or to a certain answer to check your work, you can do that too. At the end of class, you must pass in this worksheet with all of the problems finished to receive full credit. If you do not, you'll receive a 0. So if you do not pass this in, you'll receive a 0. I expect that you're going to write a proportion for every problem, and you're going to show the steps that it takes to solve that proportion. I also expect that you're going to label your answers. If you all do all those things, you will get a 100% as long as you pass in the assignment. Some of you might not need to watch this whole video. If the 3-1 lesson made sense to you, if you were able to go ahead of me during class, if the homework wasn't a challenge, you might be someone who can skip this video entirely or skip certain sections and just do the worksheet at your own pace. It'll be faster than watching the video. There's an extra credit assignment waiting for you, so you would turn this assignment in, get the extra credit assignment from the teacher, and then spend the rest of the class working on the extra credit work. If you got some of the lesson from 3-1 but not totally everything, if you aren't feeling completely confident, and if you thought you knew what you were doing but you were still getting problems wrong on homework, or if there were other students distracting you during class, then I recommend that you do watch all or most of this video. For example, you might skip certain questions or skip certain steps just to see the answers or go to the questions that you need help with. If you're someone who felt like you didn't get it, if the homework was hard or frustrating, if you had trouble focusing during the 3-1 lesson, then you'll want to watch all of this video, and you'll want to press pause, and you'll want to rewatch certain problems. You'll want to copy down everything that I do and say, and you want to make sure that you pass in the finished product so that you can get credit for your classwork. So to conclude, what I expect from you to do is I expect that you are going to use your 3-1 packet for help. You're going to show your work on this paper and use a calculator to help you number crunch. You are going to write down a problem, a proportion for every problem, and you're going to show the steps that it takes to solve that proportion. But you can use the calculator to help you with the multiplication and the division. Every answer should be labeled, and you should pass this work in at the end of the class so that you can get credit. Once you've passed it in, you can work on the extra credit option. You can complete or redo the Math Excel or complete and redo the IXL. So at the top of the paper here, just a reminder of those basic ideas that I told you about, my expectations. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read each problem. I'm going to underline the important information, and then I'm going to go ahead onto some blank paper to show you what it looks like. So a reminder that you can pause, rewatch, fast forward, rewind, whatever you need to do during the lesson. Number 1 says that Sophia earned a 90% on her mathematics test. She solved 54 problems correctly. How many problems were on the test? So I'm underlining that she earned 90%. She solved 54 correctly. And we're asked how many problems there were. All right. So the first thing I see is that it says 90%. So I'm going to write 90%. Percents are always out of 100. So that's why that ratio is written that way. Then it says that she solved 54 problems correctly. So that 54 isn't necessarily the total. It's how many she got correct. And the question says how many were on the test. So that means that the variable is across from the 100%. When we have the variable in the denominator here, we want to just flip the two ratios over. So you're just flipping the first ratio over and flipping the second ratio over. You have to make sure you do that on both. Next, the variable is being divided by 54. And we know that multiplying and dividing are opposites or inverses of each other. And that means that they reverse or undo each other. So if we multiply some number by 54 and then divide the answer by 54, that's as if we never did anything. So we have x over 1, which is just the same thing as x. Now we multiply by 54 over 1 on this side as well. We have to do that because it's an equation, and so we need to make sure that we keep everything equal. This is where the calculator comes in. You're going to multiply 54 times 100, and then take the answer and divide by 90. We know that 90 times 1 is 90. That's why you divide by 90. So you get 60. And then that was 60 problems. So we want to make sure we label the answer. So as always, pause the video now if you need to, or rewatch something. Make sure that you have all of that written on your paper. You can also do it on notebook paper and pass that in with your worksheet. All right. Number 2, Cam attempted 40 goals and made 85% of them. How many goals did Cam actually make? So he attempted 40. He made 85. And the question is, how many goals did he actually make? All right, so I see 85% as part of the problem, so I'm going to write 85%. And then it says that he attempted 40. So I've got to think about if 40 is the part of the goals or if that's all of the goals. And so if he attempted 40, that means that that's all of them. And we have to find out how many goals he actually made. And that's the part. So that's the part, that's the total. So this means that x is being divided by 40. We know that dividing by 40 and multiplying by 40 cancel each other out, or they have no impact on the number. So if you have a number and you multiply it by 40 and then take the answer and divide by 40, it's as if you never did anything. So now the x is just by itself. We multiply here by 40 And again, we have to do it on both sides because this is an equation. So into the calculator, we type 40 times 85. Fractions mean division. So we take the answer and we divide by 100. All right, so we get 34, and we're talking about goals. So we can say 34 goals, 34 goals made. Remember, you can always pause the video, rewatch it if you need to. All right, Harry purchased a mountain bike out of state for $5. Nope, for $525. He paid $42 in sales tax. What sales tax rate or percent did Harry pay? So when we talk about a sales tax rate, that's the same thing as a percentage. He purchased the bike for $525 and he paid $42 in sales tax. So we're looking for the percent. So we don't know what number goes above the 100. So the total bike, the bike was $525. And we know that tax is something that's added on. So that's part of the price. So that's why it goes here across from the X. And the 525 goes across from the 100 because that's the cost of the bike. The variable is being divided by 100. So we multiply by 100. And again, when we take a number and multiply by 100 and then divide by 100, that's as if we don't really do anything. So the variable is now by itself. And on the calculator, we multiply 42 times 100, and then we divide by 525. So we get 8. And because we're asked to find a percent, 8% is our answer. So the label is a percent sign. All right, moving on to number 4. Cole went shopping for a new shirt. He found a great shirt and it was marked down. The sale price is $24 and it is 80% of the regular price. So notice how it says it's not 80% off, it's 80% of the regular price. We have to find out what the regular price was. So it's marked down. So that tells us that the regular price is going to be more than the $24. And that is 80%. All right. So we know that the shirt is 80% of the original amount. And we know that we have to find the original amount. So the original amount is what's going to be lined up here with the 100. And the sale price, we're told that this sale price is the 80%. Okay, so that means that this number here is 80% of the regular price. We have to find the regular price. So just like with the first example, we need to rewrite the ratios so that the variable is on top. X is being divided by 24. So we're going to multiply by 24. And again, we're multiplying by 24 because the variable is being divided by 24. And so you're always looking at what's happening to the variable. We know that if we multiply by 24 and divide by 24, it's as if we didn't really do anything. So we've got 24 times 100, and we're going to divide that by 80. So we get 30, and since we're talking about the price of something, that's $30. Okay. Moving on to number 5. Again, you can pause the video at any time. You can try to do things on your own and then check back on the video. Or you can just continue watching and hopefully understand more and more with each problem. Number 5 said that Gavin bought a new gaming chair from Amazon. It cost $379.99. The sales tax in Massachusetts is 6.25% or 6.25%. How much sales tax did Gavin have to pay for the gaming chair, and how much did he have to pay altogether? So we know how much it cost. We know that the sales tax is 6.25%. We have to find out how much sales tax he paid and then how much he had to pay altogether. So we know that the tax rate in Massachusetts is 6.25%. So percents are always out of 100, so that's why it's written over 100. The cost of the chair is $379.99. And so if you were just thinking about an estimate, you could definitely round that. But when we need to know the exact answer, we do need to round only at the end. Sales tax is part of the price, so you have to put that across from the part or across from the percentage. So X is being divided by $379, so we're going to multiply by $379.99. And we're going to do that on both sides. Again, we know that multiplying by that number and then dividing by the same number, it's as if nothing happened. And on our calculators, we'll do 379.99 times 6.25, and then the fraction bar means divide, so we divide by 100. All right, so on your calculator, it says 23.7, and then there's a 4 and a 9. So money only goes out to 2 places. So that 4, we're going to keep it a 4 if the next number is below 5, and then we're going to round it up to 5 if the next number is 5 or higher. So because there's a 9 after the 4 on the calculator, we're going to round the 4 up to a 5. So for tax, he's going to pay $23.75 in tax. Now to find the total, we have a couple of options. You could just add the tax on. Another option Another option. Remember how 100% was the total price of the bike? And we just learned that the 6.25% was 23.75. So if we combine those together, we can find out the total cost because it includes the price of the bike and the tax. So this number, this 100 is the original price, and the 6.25 is the tax added onto it. So when you solve for this, the answer is going to be the price including the tax. That's another option. Here's the original option, which is to add the tax on. That's something we will need to remember, that tax is always being added on. And so we have $403.74. So if this way makes sense to you, that's great. If this way makes sense to you, that's also great. This number up here is just the 100%, which is the original price, plus the 6.25, which is the tax. And when you solve it, the answer is the price plus the tax. So there's no extra step because you already did the adding here. All right. Number 6. Abby answered 47 questions correctly on a 50-item test. What percent of the items did she get correct, and what percent did she get wrong? All right, so 47 items correctly, and it was a 50-item test. So that tells me that that's the total. And we have to find out what percent she got correct and what percent she got wrong. All right, so it's a what percent question. So that means the variable goes over 100 because we don't know what the percent is. So we don't know what number to put there. We know that the 50 questions was the total number of questions. And so because it's the total, it has to go here across from the 100. She answered 47 correctly. So the variable, that's what we want to pay attention to, okay? Sometimes the variable is here, sometimes it's over on the left, but what's important is what's happening to the variable. So the variable is being divided by 100. And so we multiply by 100 on both sides. So we do 47 times 100 divided by 50. So we get 94. And then the label for that is percent, because we were asked to find out what her percent was, or what percent she got correct. So if she got 94% correct, that means she got 6% wrong. Next up, Yasmin Silva earns 8% commission on all Marshmallow sales. How much were her sales for last month if her commission was $1,250? And so remember that a commission is when you get paid a certain percentage of the total. And so Yasmin's percentage is 8%, and that means she got a $1,250 paycheck for the sales. So it's important to know that she earns an 8% commission. We have to find out what her sales were, and her commission was $1,250. So we know she gets 8% commission. And so we have to find out how much her sales were in total, because she makes a commission off of the total sales. We also know that her commission for last month was $1,250. We have to find out what her sales were in total. So this $1,250 is the 8% that she made. We are asked to find out what the total amount was for her sales. Just like in the first example, because the variable is in the denominator, we're going to flip the two ratios over so that now the variable is in the numerator. So again, the variable is being divided by 1250. So we multiply by 1250, and we do that on both sides because this is an equation. Multiplying by 1250 and then dividing by 1250 is as if you never did anything. Next we have 1250 times 100, and then divide that by 8. So that money right there is how much her total sales were for marshmallows for that month. So she sold $15,625 worth of marshmallows that month. And then this is what her paycheck was. All right, well, welcome back. This video will have questions 8, 9, 10, and 11 on it. In question 8, we talked about how it says almost 55% of the roughly 540 students at El Musa Middle School are female. How many are female and how many are male? And so the 55% is written as 55 over 100. And the 540 students, that's all of the students in the school. We know that because we're asked about how many are male and how many are female. So to solve, the variable is being divided by 540 rather. So we need to multiply by 540. And we talked about how when we take x and divide by 540 and then multiply by 540, those don't really impact x at all. So x is just left by itself. We have x over 1, you'll see, and we know that that just equals x. Okay. So on our calculators, we need to multiply 540 times 55 and then divide by 100. So we have 297, and we are asked how many are female. And then the remaining would be male. So we have 540 minus 297. And just a reminder, you can always pause videos to rewatch them. And you can also fast forward if you find the need to. Looking at number 9. So Karen is a door-to-door spatula saleswoman. Her boss, Eleanor, is expecting Karen to sell 150 spatulas in 1 month. At the end of the month, Karen has actually sold 180 spatulas. What percent of the expected sales did Karen actually sell? And will Eleanor be happy or mad? So Eleanor is expecting 150 spatulas to be sold. And at the end of the month, Karen has actually sold 180. And we're asked to find what percent did she actually sell? And will Eleanor be happy or mad? All right, so it's a what percent problem. So we need to write x over 100. So Eleanor is expecting Karen to sell 150 spatulas, so that's the total amount that she's expecting her to sell. And so that might seem odd to put the 150 there, even though it's smaller than 180. But again, that's what her boss is expecting. So that's the 100%. Karen actually does better than that and sells 180 spatulas. And so we are going to multiply on both sides by 100. And again, we know that if we multiply x by 100 and then divide by 100, we are just left with x. And here we have 180 times 100 divided by 150. So we get 120. And because we're looking for a percent, the label is a percent sign. All right, looking at Lily's question, it says a Lily drinks a glass of skim milk every day. A glass of skim milk contains 9 grams of protein. 9 grams is 20% of the recommended daily allowance for protein. Find the number of grams of protein that, this should say Lily, that Lily should be eating in one day based on the recommended daily allowance. So it says that a glass of milk contains 9 grams of protein. It says that 9 grams is 20%. That's important. And we have to find the number of grams she should be eating in one day. All right, so the percent number is 20. And in the second line, it says that 9 grams is 20%. So that means that the 9 grams is going to be lined up with the 20%. So that's what it means when it says 9 grams is 20%. It means they're literally the same thing, just written different ways. So 9 grams is 20% of the total, and we have to find out what the total is. So next what we do is we rewrite the ratios so that the x is now on the top. We multiply by 9. We know that when we multiply x times 9 and then divide the answer by 9, then we have just x. And here we have 9 times 100, so 900 divided by 20. So we get 45, and we're talking about grams of protein. Okay, last question. Ailey went to Hardigan Furniture World for closing sale. Ailey wanted to buy a new comfy chair that had cup holders. The price tag said it was originally $549.99. However, since Hardigan Furniture World was going out of business, the chair was 33% off. How much money will Ailey save, and what was the new price of the chair? So we've got two questions. We have to find the new price, and then how much will she save? It was originally $549.99. The sale was 33% off. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to start with the 33%. And then it says it was originally $549.99. And so that word originally tells us that that's the 100%. So we need to see how much was taken off the price. And that's why the X is going across from the 33, because that's how much was taken off the price. So we do multiply on both sides. By whatever number is being multiplied. Sorry, I made a mistake here. We multiply on both sides by the number that the variable is being divided by. And again, we know that when we take a number and multiply it by something and divide it by that same number, nothing really happens. So we just get that variable back. And on our calculator, we're going to multiply 549.99 times 33, divide by 100. All right, so on your calculator, you have 0.4967. And so in our money, we only go out to 2 decimal places. So the second decimal is a 9. There's a 6 after it, which means we round up. So from 49, we round that up to 50 cents. So $181.50 is the amount of money that she will be saving. Now, to find out the new price, we have a couple of options. You can either subtract how much was saved from the original price, or since she saved 33%, that means she paid for 67%. So this is how much she saved. This is how much she paid for. So if you wanted to, you could write a new proportion, 67 over 100. And again, the original price is still the same price. We're trying to figure out now how much she would be paying, how much she would be paying after the discount. So they're both going to give you the same answer. If you're using a calculator and you did this, you'll see it says 0.4933. And so we have 49 cents. The 3 is not going to round the 49 up. So we have $368.49 is what she'll be paying. Okay. All right. So make sure you rewind if you need anything repeated. Make sure you have labels on all of your answers. And then follow the directions I gave you at the beginning of the video.